Yeah, I think we're live now.
All right.
About a minute and a half early. Just to see if everything's working.
Mm-hmm.
Looks good. Everything looks good on your end. You say you have to keep, you want to do something with the lighting, but I don't think it looks bad.
Oh, well, yeah, I think it's a little hot on my forehead, so to speak.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I have a new, did I show you my new green screen? The one I had before pretty much cut the whole room in half. It was this huge thing, and as such, it was, because it was up all the time, it was kind of a pain. It took up all the space in the room. So I have this little portable one now. It's small, but as such, it has to sit like right behind my chair. So it's right here.
Oh, well, again,
Close.
that's right. That's why the couple of weeks past, you would sometimes have something on a table behind you.
Oh yeah, I didn't bring anything out today.
Oh, yeah.
But see, it's right. It's right
You don't have a whole lot of space
here.
for your
See
table,
that?
though, do you? Yeah.
Right. That's why I had to prop it up higher on a pedestal. Jeremy from London. Welcome, Jeremy from London. All right. Oh, I gotta get a little. What is the date today? October 4th. I need to make some adjustments here. All right. You ready to go?
I am ready.
Okay. Let's go in 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the RetroMacCast with James and John. This is episode 545 for October 4th, 2020. Good morning, John.
Good morning, James.
We should have a lockdown count as well, or days since the pandemic began. I wonder, when was the official date that, in the U.S. that was declared?
Oh goodness, sometime back in February or March, right? I think March is when I started working at home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we are on a streak of weekly episodes. Of course, the pandemic brought the introduction of the YouTube live video stream.
Yeah.
Which has added an interesting dynamic.
I like it.
To our podcast, plus the added complication of dealing with that. It seems like every other episode we wind up forgetting that we're doing an audio podcast. We just sort of just start chatting with the folks in the chat room. Well, anything you needed new to report here off the top of the show?
Just that I am very excited.
Oh, that's right. We have a special guest. Yes.
What? Yeah, well, just that. Yeah, that this was a surprise to me this morning too, and it's very hard for me not to squee like a little fanboy that I am.
We'll see how we work this. We're gonna integrate our special guest into the live recording. Recording of live.
Recorded live before a studio audience.
Our special guest, Jack Miller, from As the Apple Turns fame, will be joining us a little bit later at 8:30 Central, and we'll just kind of roll him right into the studio here, the virtual studio, and chat with him. We mentioned As the Apple Turns last week because you had stumbled on it, that it had returned.
Yeah.
Not with new episodes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
it's like resurrected the time capsule. All right. Well, I didn't even. Did you go over and hop on the Facebook and see who joined us this week?
I did not.
I think we had a few members here. Let me take a look.
Nice.
Let's see. In the group we have Andrea Sole, Ev Okwin, and Johan Sis joined us on the Facebook page. And joining us in the chat are Jeremy from London, Klaus from Sweden, and Action Retro from, the Philadelphia area, who's got some new videos out there working with the G4. Have you seen
very good.
those? Yeah.
I have not yet. No.
All right. Yeah, I think that's all we have to announce at the beginning here. We'll be right back with some eBay finds. All right, let's see. You got the
I
auctions
do.
over there?
Yeah.
All right. We'll put those up there so everybody at home can see. And put them on my screen so I can see what's going on. All right, you ready?
Yep. Also.
And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, let's look at the auctions from last week. The Mac Effects Custom Red Translucent Case for your Macintosh SE, still available. Buy it now, $305. Then, what else do we have here? We had that Macintosh. Well, it said plus, but it was actually upgraded to a plus, right? As we did some sleuthing around the back of the case, and has the original Mac keyboard, some accessories, the case.
And oddly
didn't get
enough,
any bids.
an Apple IIe Platinum floppy drive. So
Sure.
yeah.
No bids on that at the $250 price. It's been relisted at $250, or you can buy now for $350. And then that curious almost collection ready to go from Denmark. It clued us into this new form of classified ad listing on eBay, where you don't actually buy it through eBay. You just have like a classified ad, and they were listing this collection that had 100 or more computers, right? There's a lot of items on the list.
Oh yeah.
And you can see everything at applevintagecollection.com. They listed at $17,500. That listing is still up. Okay, we will start. I know you hate to see posters from me, but gosh, look at this. Isn't this glorious?
It
is
is.
framed.
Yeah, nicely framed.
And
absolutely.
I don't remember seeing this one. I mean, they had all kinds of cool advertising posters that would wind up in Apple stores, and the vast majority were just destroyed, right? They just threw them in the bin.
Sure.
Very few hung around, but lucky for us, somebody held on to this one in Des Moines, Iowa. It is a Macintosh Powerbook poster with a great shot of a Mac Powerbook 180, I think it is, sitting on a table against a white backdrop with the words, "The most acclaimed notebook computer in the world." And as testament to that, along the top are those recognitions, right?
From Mac User Magazine, Byte Magazine, but it was Industrifora, German Premier
Whatever
Industrial
that is.
Design Association.
Comdex.
Yeah.
Right. A bunch of different
Time
awards.
Magazine. Wow. Okay.
One of the best new products in 1991 by Time Magazine, Business Week Magazine, Financial Times London, and Fortune. And it was the Portable Notebook Product of the Year by InfoWorld. Lots of awards from
looking at the poster, I did not realize just how big it is. It looked for some reason it just looks like almost, I guess, because it kind of looks like a 2-page magazine ad sort of thing.
Yeah, it's 2 foot by 3 foot.
It's 2 foot by 3 foot. Yeah.
Yeah, it would be glorious on a wall someplace, and it
Absolutely.
is framed. I don't think it's any kind of fancy frame. It looks like one of those little plastic pre-made.
That looks like glass though. That doesn't look like.
You think that's glass with that thin of a little bezel?
I suppose you're right. Yeah, it's very shiny.
I think it is very. Well, yeah. My guess is that's like some plexiglass. Okay. Otherwise, it's going to be very, very heavy.
Oh, good point. Good point. And the shipping's not that much. Yeah.
Right. $50 is the starting bid on that. I don't know. Is it worth $50?
Poster ships without frame, carefully rolled up. Okay. So you don't
even get that.
You don't get it.
Yeah, that's like a $10 frame. Right?
Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah. Again, I don't have this one, and I can't remember. I've seen this particular one, but
Yeah,
it's a nice looking poster if you're a fan
absolutely.
of
Yeah.
the original Powerbooks. Okay, what do we got next?
Next up, we have another nice compact Mac. This is a vintage Macintosh M0001 computer. So this is the original Macintosh. This I'm trying to see a picture of the back to make sure it is actually not something upgraded, and it is not. It is early enough that it doesn't have the 128K edition to the badge on the back. So this is indeed just a Macintosh. This comes with a couple of extras, a disk drive, a modem, which is pretty cool, an Apple, Apple branded modem, which sits very nicely on top of the external floppy. Now, that third-party floppy, yeah. So it actually fits better on top of that floppy than I think it would on an actual Apple floppy, because the modem is a little bit wider. That's a very odd case, and it also has the little mouse caddy. Do you remember those?
They you stick on the side.
Yeah,
of the
or you stick on the
case.
side. So yeah, and it was like,
Right.
I don't know why, because you pretty much have to have the mouse being used all the time with a Mac. But hey, whatever.
I guess if you're gonna carry it around or something, I don't know.
$100. That's not bad for, even if it doesn't come with like, some discs. It doesn't come with a case. The fact that it is, the first Mac, I think makes it worth $100 just on its own. It looks like it comes up just fine. It of course is coming up to the hey, where's my floppy disk icon, but yeah, pretty cool. I like it.
Yeah, this one, I mean, you find a 128K that boots.
Yeah,
that is in the condition this is.
Yep. Now check this out. I'm looking at the serial cable going from the modem to the computer is actually Apple branded on its own, which I did not realize. And it's not just branded with the Apple logo; it actually has the Mater Tectura font, Apple. Very interesting.
Yeah. Action Retro points out that there are 47 people watching this, and there are already 7 bids. This is going to get a lot of attention.
Good point.
And I would imagine, 1,000 or more in this kind of condition.
No.
You don't think so?
No. If it came with the box and the accessories, I could see it. I expect.
You need a refresh, John. You want to bet on that? If it had original box, you're looking at a couple of thousand for an original Mac. Yeah, I don't know. What are the bets there in the chat room?
I don't know. That makes me happy if that's the case, because I've got a couple of these. So hey,
yeah, this kind of condition these days, 128K Max, I would say 800 would be low.
Wow. Okay,
would be low. Yeah. Well, we got 4 days to go, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah. All right. So what's our last one?
Our last one. Another nice classic Mac. This one's a Macintosh 2X.
Oh.
Description says the motherboard and case are clean. I replaced the batteries. Let's see. Powered on. Boot 7.0.1 from the original hard drive. And it says, after many hours of operation, the computer shut down. It can still be powered on, but the keyboard button has to be held down to keep it running. The back power button does not work. I wonder if that's like a flaking battery circuit there or something. Remember these had these soft boot via the keyboard.
Oh, where you had to have the battery to get it to boot properly?
Yeah. But this is again kind of like the last one. For its age, very sharp looking case wise, and booting. There's a little hiccup there, but I would imagine it's just maybe just a flaky connection or something.
Have you ever seen a heat warning on a hard drive before?
A heat warning?
Yeah,
on a hard drive.
Yeah, look, it actually has like a little, hey, this thing gets hot, little icon.
Oh yeah, I see that on the internal hard drive. No. Is that a heat warning, or is it just that you're supposed to pet it once in a while? Yeah, but but boy, is that clean. I mean,
Oh yeah.
oh my
That's
gosh, it's like brand new
shiny.
inside,
Yeah.
and the case. Look at that. Not a crack or a fade or anything. Got you got port doors, and it's just been cleaned, meticulously cleaned.
It doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't even have a
Um,
patina on it.
it has all the rubber feet. Um, Very nice. And then booting
Yeah.
up like it does. Now, does it come with the monitor? No, it does not. Sold. It says it's funny. It says sold as is without the monitor, which is too bad because that's a monitor of that
Appropriate.
day.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. That is
Yeah. Oh
definitely
yeah.
the appropriate monitor for that.
Right. I hope it comes at least with the keyboard and mouse. They want $400 for this. Not original 2, but a 2X
Not a
working or
2X.
closely to it.
Yeah.
Very, very clean. It might just get that. I don't know. They want a little bit for shipping on that. It ships from San Francisco. This has 6 days. Will end on Saturday. We'll see. We'll see what this gets to, or if it. No make an offer. No bite now. We'll see if it gets the $400 ask price.
Yeah. Kensington Mouse Caddy. Yep. That is correct, David.
All right. It is 8:15, and our special guest hasn't arrived, so we'll shoot out of sequence. We'll just do the news. We just got one
Yep.
quick news
We just
story.
have the one news, which is
just
kind of
knock that out.
cool. Yeah. All right.
It's kind of cool. Kind of cool.
Kind of cool. Pretty nice. All right.
Yeah, it might spawn some activity on our end to
Yeah.
do a little more research on this. Okay, I'm saying too much. Let's go in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, it was a bit of slow news week, not just for current Apple news, but also for vintage news. Didn't see a whole lot going on out there. So when the news is slow, I start digging into Reddit, the Facebook groups. In this case, I found something curious on the Vintage Macintosh Enthusiast Facebook group. And over there, Ryan posted photos of his little project where, and I guess I could share that with people, the viewing audience. Look at this. He took I would guess that's a SCSI zip drive, external zip drive, and crammed a Raspberry Pi in there, which is hosting Netatalk. Now, I was asking John, did we ever talk about Netatalk? I thought we talked about some Raspberry Pi based file sharing solution. Maybe it was this one, maybe it was a different one, but he could use it as an AppleTalk file server and then share files with older Macs on his network. Completed the whole thing with even using an icon, so it boots with the zip disk icon.
That's brilliant. Love it.
And in the posting, there's some instructions there, and you can see everything that went into that. Lots of room in there, and he even kept the zip disk in there. Now the zip disk isn't connected to anything, right? It's just sitting in there.
Just for show.
So yeah.
Yeah, as small as a Pi
cool
Zero
too.
is, you could. I wonder if you could take one of the USB zip and actually use it and still find space for the Pi Zero inside that case. I bet you could. And actually have the zip still working alongside with it.
Right.
So yeah, this is a wonderful solution. Like the NAS that I have does not work well with my older Macs. It never seems to be able to connect properly. So something like this with all my older stuff connected to it, normally what I end up having to do is, boot up like my G3, which has,
Has all
hard
your
drive,
files.
has the files, but having something a lot smaller and a lot less power consumption would be pretty darn cool. So I'm definitely gonna have to look into the Netatalk.
Yeah, it looks like a pretty nice, clean solution. makes you wonder what other small drive enclosures you could do this with. There's nothing really magical with the zip drive, because you're not really using the zip drive. You could use an external floppy drive, would be pretty cool. Or one of those, what'd be really nice is the like in that 128K listing, the modem, the Apple modem.
Yes.
To use that'd be perfect. Especially if you could rig it so the lights came on when you had network traffic, right? Derek suggests that you stuck some relays in there so it made clunking noises. Yeah, you mean clicking noises, right?
The click of
the
death.
Dreaded click of death would be a great addition to this little project.
Kind of off to the side on that, Derek. Are you familiar with the Big Mess of Wires? Of course, it does the floppy emu. They actually made a relay that you can go put in line. So as you're accessing stuff on the floppy emu, it'll actually make the proper clicking noises.
There you go.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, it was a slow news day, but I see Jack is waiting for us. So
perfect.
So I want to make sure he doesn't think we've forgotten about him.
Yeah.
So we'll close out the news and we'll be right back. All right. Let's add him in. Let's see. Let's remove that. And boom, there he is.
Everyone can see and hear me. Wow.
We can. We are live on the internet, and there is a massive audience out there. Oh, he can't hear us. All right, testing.
Anything yet?
Testing. Anything.
I am not hearing stuff.
Hello.
All right.
I just got to check something here.
All right, are we going to have to switch over?
Nope, I got it.
Nope.
We're good. I had something interrupting the audio stream.
Oh.
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
No problem.
We are live online, and there's a massive audience of maybe 4 people that are joining us.
I may know 3 of them.
But international audience.
It is international. Yeah, we've got England, Sweden, Canada, the U.S. It is an odd hour for.
Yeah, I was going to say you're naming countries where it's not an ungodly hour to be awake.
Yeah, that's part of it. Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to hit record for the audio podcast here, and then we'll just do a short little intro and just kind of introduce you. So, John, you ready to go?
I am all set.
All right. Let's start recording in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well, it was last week sometime that John discovered that an old favorite website from the 90s had come back. And what were you searching for? I can't remember.
Well, I was it was whatever the topic we were talking about. I was like, I wonder if I can on Internet Archive find if there was anything on As the Apple Turns that where he talked about it, because
talked about the transition to
yes from Motorola to PowerPC, right?
That's right.
And I noticed that on Internet Archive it gives you kind of a list of how many times they archived the site, and I noticed that there's like a ton of archive activity current. I'm like, what on earth? And so I went there and I'm like, so I'm trying not to squee fanboy out too badly, because I love your site. That your site was a joy to read as a geek and a Buffy fan and everything else, and a light Macintosh enthusiast. So it made me very excited to see that you were hosting the old episodes with a 20-year date out like that.
So we're thrilled to be joined by Jack Miller, who
Thanks,
ran that site for how many years did it go? I know.
Oh man, I mean, it started in 1997. Mm-hmm. It ran daily, including weekends, for several years before it went to Monday through Friday daily. and then just, became spottier and spottier as, life interfered. But I don't actually know. Like, you could check the archives and see what the last episode was. I want to say it probably would have been in around 2005, maybe 2006.
Mm.
So it would have been like 8 or 9 years.
Which is an amazing run. Especially, I mean, a ton of writing that you did. How many? What is it? You used to do the Moby Dick.
The Moby Dick Index, yeah.
Yes.
Or did I call it? Maybe it was the Melville Index. I don't remember. But yeah, at some point, since the site was database driven, at a time when I don't think a lot of web content was database driven, I was able to do things like just run a total word count on a total text dump of everything I'd written for the site. And since Moby Dick is public domain, you can download a text file of Moby Dick. And so I was able to compare how many words I had written versus how many were in Moby Dick. I think the last time I checked, it was something like 9.1 times as long as Moby Dick or something. So that was always the motto, was quantity over quality.
So take us back to 97. What was the impetus for all this? I remember reading in the about that you were laid up or something, and
I had a broken ankle. Broke my ankle in 2 places, skateboarding, and so I was stuck sitting around a lot. And I had an idea earlier. This predates cascading style sheets and all kinds of stuff like that. So web development was super early stuff. It was HTML. It was writing
frames.
HTML.
You were using a lot of frames for your.
Wasn't
interface,
even frames,
wasn't it? No, okay.
Because frame support was even inconsistent, and so or led to problems. So I was messing around with nested tables.
Oh my gosh!
How far could you push nested tables? Because at the time, or not that long before then, I think Netscape 3 maybe added support for background colors of table cells.
Okay.
So you could change the color of given table cells to different background colors. And so I got this odd idea that was like, this was when everybody was on dial-up. You wanted your website to be as low bandwidth as possible, so that the page would actually load in less than 20 minutes. And graphics were the thing that took up all the bandwidth. So I was thinking, well, if you can have a table cell that has a different background color, than another table cell, could you theoretically have a table that was like 100 columns by 100 rows and just change the background color for each pixel?
Jeez.
Make each table cell a pixel, and then have graphics that were just massive amounts of text. The answer is yes, you absolutely can do that, but it takes so long to render, bad things will happen. But that was what it grew out of. It was an experiment in just how far can you push nested tables. And so one of the things that I had managed to do was, and you were able to use graphics as a background element, not just a color at that point. So you could set like an actual graphic as a background element. That was amazing. So I just started taking screenshots of Mac Windows. And remember, this is System 7, System 8. So everything was right angles. So you could take portions of a Mac window, cut them up, and use them as window elements as background table cells. So I was able to basically replicate Mac Windows in a web page. And so I had that, and I figured, well, every single thing you read about Apple today is about how they're going out of business tomorrow, including the good news. The good news, Apple just posted like a record profit. Too bad they're going out of business tomorrow. It was all about that. So yeah, I just had the idea of sort of parodying the doom and gloom aspect of all things Apple in the media.
Between your site and Mac Addict magazine, both had that wonderful irreverence to them and very tongue-in-cheek writing. It did keep a lot of the Mac people at the time going, as far as not feeling kind of left out, you know?
Yeah, well, I mean, it was a real danger. I mean, a lot of us who loved our Apple devices really lived in sort of constant mortal fear that once the ones we had died, that would be it. There would be no option to replace them. And Mac Addict, yeah, absolutely. I was a big fan of Mac Addict, and I was very privileged that they asked me to write for them a few times. So I do have a few print articles in that magazine before I guess they're now Mac Life. But yeah, they were awesome to me. They reached out to me even before writing for them because they had a Mac Addict network of sites.
Oh, okay.
They said, oh, do you want As the Apple Turns to be part of this? And you know, we take care of the advertising and things like that. And I said, yeah, sure, let's give that a shot. It was really cool, you know. So I would go to Macworld Expo, the East Coast one, every year, and Mac Addict would be there, and they'd say, oh, you know, come on our harbor cruise and have dinner with us.
Hey,
this is insane. Sure, of course. And one of the great regrets of my life, there aren't that many, but one year they said, oh, you know, are you coming to the San Francisco show in January? And I never made it out to the San Francisco show. But that one particular year, had I gone, I would have had dinner with Douglas Adams. And
oh my God.
Right before he passed away.
Wow.
One of my all-time favorite writers. And I found out after the fact that, at the dinner, you know, we had Douglas Adams there. We were all just chatting. So big missed opportunity.
Yeah. Did any other? Oh, so go ahead, James.
Well, I was speaking of opportunities. You must have had other cool opportunities with that
That's
kind of
exactly
access.
what
I was going to say, yeah.
What other jobs offers were?
Yeah, it led to some cool stuff. I got to guest lecture at UCLA a couple of times. There was a fan of the site who was a professor at UCLA and said, do you want, you know, this was right after, I think, iChat AV was a thing. And so he says, do you want to try this? Do you want to try lecturing to my class of, you know, a few dozen people over iChat AV?
On writing? What was the lecture about?
I think it was essentially web and media content, general stuff. So it was interesting. So, you know, it's this kind of thing before anybody was doing this kind of thing or could do this kind of thing. And it was very much an experiment. You know, how can let's see if it's feasible for somebody to guest lecture from 3,000 miles away. Many people. So, you know,
what is normal now?
I'm looking at just a sea of tiny faces.
Oh, wow.
And then I'd see a little hand go up and be like, oh, okay. Whoever's hand is up, I think you're wearing green. I'm not sure. But yeah, I did that a couple of times. That was really fun. I got to speak, I think, once at Macworld Expo, just on a panel. You know, it was right up your alley. It was, I think it was 101 uses for a dead Mac.
Nice.
You know, so you had people up there talking about, you know, making Macquariums and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
So in the comments, Derek, our friend Derek, asked, last year at the talk show at Worldwide Developer Conference, Phil Schiller said they'd offered you a job, but you had declined.
That did not happen as far as I know.
Okay. All right.
I don't, it's possible it went to my spam folder and now we're talking about two big regrets. Yeah, I don't remember ever having any contact directly with any higher ups at Apple for very good reason. I mean, I think we kind of had a nice, you know, unspoken agreement that, you know, because the kind of stuff that I would write about often traded in the rumors.
Right. Good point.
Deal.
Yeah.
And Apple's not big on rumors, and I fully support and respect that. My take on producing the site was I would generally not post anything that I could not link to, which was therefore publicly available.
And so you were never visited by the Apple ninjas?
Correct. Yeah, I had very little problem. The only problem I had regarding that was, I think for a while we had affiliate links with the iTunes Music Store back when it was the iTunes Music Store, and that was canceled at one point because they said they had an official policy where you couldn't use the word Apple in the name of your site.
Ah, okay.
So that very likely was just an automatic cancellation. But yeah, I was always careful not to step on toes that way. And if I did have something that was original leaked information, I would always try to couch that as, a dream sequence or, a psychic flash or something like that, because I really didn't want to get into the same kind of deal. So there were plenty of rumor sites that had lots of problems with Apple Legal.
Yeah.
And, I like Apple. I didn't, my goal was to really help the company as well as the community. I was never, I didn't want to be antagonistic. So anything that I figured was probably, and, also I wasn't pretending to be journalism in any way, shape, or form. It was entirely intended to be entertainment.
Yes. Yeah. Your disclaimer on your site.
I make stuff up. And the other nice thing is when you say you make stuff up, then you can say, well, I had this crazy dream and, it actually turned out to be true. What an amazing coincidence. But yeah, I would get contacted by people who shouldn't be talking to people like me every once in a while. And I was always really careful what kind of, I didn't want to get anybody in trouble. Also, it's nice that you guys wanted to tell me something, but at the same time, I don't want you to lose your job for it. So there were some interesting decisions that had to be made sometimes. I never went seeking that stuff, but it found me sometimes.
What were some of those controversial moments from your memory? Stories, or periods of Apple history that?
It was usually product specification leaks before an announcement. So it would typically be, there's a keynote in 5 days. Everybody is pretty much aware that it's going to be, the new iMac. And then finding out, suddenly getting not a screenshot, it would always just be like text, but suddenly finding something in my inbox that was just like a list of colors and specifications and thinking, and this is from an email address where I got other stuff that seemed like maybe it was real and turned out to be real, so the times when I would actually follow through and write about that kind of thing in a very careful way was typically when it was something that I felt would actually benefit everybody if people knew. There would be like maybe a lot of doom and gloom, bad talk about what everybody thought was going to be announced, when I was pretty sure what was going to be announced was actually something better. And so sometimes like that, if it was something that would keep the interest level up, then I might consider risking posting that. But
yeah. And so over all those years, were those the more popular stories? Like what were do you recall like the articles, the episodes that got the most visits? Were there some standout moments there? Was it pretty just
track?
Really? Okay.
Most of the traffic was just, people coming back every day.
Yeah.
Do you have an idea how many kind of roughly metrics as far as?
Yeah. At its peak, it was getting about 30,000 unique visitors per day.
That's awesome.
At the time,
wow.
Yeah, at the time was significant.
Yeah, there weren't that many more people online at that time.
Well, certainly not Mac users.
Right.
And certainly not Mac users who were...
The numbers were going down.
Fanatical in it,
find
this entertaining.
One of those is probably Michael Dell, just checking into.
I always wondered. At one point, Mac Addict was considering publishing an article that I was putting together that was sort of a compendium of the timeline of all the times that Dell had ripped off Apple since Steve Jobs had come back. And they killed it because, frankly, it wasn't a very good article. I think it was a good idea to kill it. That kind of thing worked a lot better as a running gag than here's one article that just, it just didn't really work out so well. So I think they made the right decision there.
So why, let's say it was sometime last year, right, that you decided to go ahead and rehost the old episodes? And
I heard you say that on last week's show, and I was like, a year ago? No, come on. No, yeah, it was absolutely a year ago. Like, time means nothing anymore. I had no idea it was that long.
And why did that come about? What caused you now to resurrect it?
The main impetus was, one old advertiser thing released like an update to terms and conditions or something that, saying your site is not in compliance for this. And I was like, my site doesn't exist anymore, but yeah, that might be why it's not in compliance. You can't read a masthead or something if there's no masthead to read. But it got me thinking about, how much, I kept that database for years. The thing about that site, again, since it was very much an experiment and a labor of love and things like that, I always wanted it run on a Mac. And these days that doesn't sound like any big deal, but before Mac OS X, running a web server on a Mac was kind of a big deal. Like, you couldn't just throw on Apache and PHP. So if you were running on a Mac, you were basically running a product called WebStar, which was a Mac OS based web server. And so all the development was done in WebStar with bridge utilities like Lasso that let you bridge to FileMaker Pro as a database. So I had this FileMaker Pro 3 database. I think they're up to version 19 or 20 now. It was FileMaker 3 and just a flat file database that had all the content in it. And that was how all the calculations and stuff were done. And so I still had that buried on like a dead Mac from 2 years back. So the site never officially came down, as you probably know. It just petered out. And the reason I never posted a thing saying, this is done and I'm leaving the archives up, I never intended it to end. I just ran into a wall at a point where I just could not come back to it, always intending I'm going to come back to this once things settle down. Things never settled down. And eventually, and all this time I'm paying hundreds of dollars a month in co-location
oh my gosh,
to keep that server up and running. And eventually that server died. It was a used Power Mac 7500 maybe that I got off eBay. And Accelerate, you remember the Accelerate guys?
Accelerator card.
Power Mac. They donated a G4 upgrade for that. So that was the server. That was Bunter. That was the server that site was running on for years and years and years. So eventually, my hosting service emailed and said, yeah, your computer just completely died. What do you want us to do about it? So it's probably, sitting in a landfill in Jersey at this point. I was like, it doesn't make sense to send it back to me. I guess at this point, we're just going to call this dead. But that was years after after the daily updates stopped. And so that was when it went dead air. That was when, you go to appleturns.com, nothing came up for years and years.
Is that around when the rumors of your demise started circulating? Or
I think they started a little earlier than that. I think it was when the site was still running but not being updated.
Well, it is. So that is because that's happened to other, where somebody who's doing regular content, and people worry that something's happened. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And
it was everything okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And people who would email me, via the site, I would generally be able to get back to people and say, yeah, I'm fine. Things are just a lot right now, and I do hope to get back to things at some point, but I don't know when, so I'm not going to say when, because I may not be able to meet that. And also it's like, as soon as you acknowledge that you're not doing it every day, it's harder to then come back. And then, things just completely got away from me. Absolutely. And, at somewhere in there, I ended up also getting a full-time job. It's like, oh, well, this will all work out. Well, maybe not. It meant I could keep paying the co-location fees, but it meant also that I didn't necessarily have time to, at its peak, I was spending probably about 9 to 11 hours a day running.
Wow.
And it was never intended to be something that took more than like 20 or 30 minutes a day.
Yeah.
The original idea was, I'm going to find 3 articles about Apple or Mac stuff and write up a quick little, 2 or 3 sentence blurb with a link. And then that'll be it. And it just turned, like most things I do, it just spiraled completely out of control. It turned into longer and longer commentary, more and more, real original content. Sometimes I can't help that kind of thing. I usually can't help that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And, and then eventually it was like, well, it's hard to do this on Saturdays and Sundays because there's usually nothing to write about, so then you're racking your brain for more stuff. And so that was when I realized, you know what, I'm just not going to do new episodes on Saturdays and Sundays, but I will do viewer mail. That'll be easy. I get so much mail, and I'll just, grab a few of those and write up a quick pithy answer to them and then post those all on the site. I ended up spending hours upon hours just working on viewer mail. I'm just bad. I'm just bad at this kind of stuff. It's like, if it's not perfect, I don't really want to stop doing it. And,
well,
it's its own thing.
It's wonderful that, that's all back up there for everybody to read. So all that hard work,
because
still preserved.
One of the problems with Internet Archive is when they started, grabbing site information, a lot of your earlier episodes were pretty much lost Internet Archive wise. Yeah. So it is so great to be able to delve back into that. And then of course, for a podcast like us, it's another source for what was on people's minds back in this time period. We do like time capsule episodes, and so it's a wonderful source and a very fun source. So,
oh, thanks. Yeah, when I realized that, because I was just going to put the archives back up, and I couldn't just flip a switch and put them back up because again, it was running on Mac OS 8, Mac OS 9, and WebScar wasn't a thing anymore. And I had been working on a complete new code base back in the early 2000s where I was porting everything to PHP, MySQL, and Apache. And I still had that code base. Heck, I've still got the, I've actually got the Xserve in my basement that I had bought that I was going to replace that 7500 with. I'm probably going to turn it into a coffee table at this point because that thing is loud. It sounds like you're running a hairdryer all the time. And
right.
I was like, okay, I'm not using this here. I'll ship this off when it's ready. Of course, it was never ready, but I had that code base running in an alpha version. So I said, this will run on a Linux server. I've still got the domain name. I don't need to spend, $300 in co-location fees for my own server if I just finish this port and then just throw everything up on a, $20 a month shared hosting fee. And so that's what I did. And it took probably 3 weeks to just sort of get everything shuffled back together. I'm pretty sure it's a complete archive of the actual episodes. What I don't have are the daily polls and the viewer mail. But the actual daily content, the main content is, I'm quite certain, 100% complete, and it is searchable. You can find all that old stuff. It's fun for me to just jump in there every once in a while and just search for things and see what pops up, because I was curious. What was the first mention of my daughter? Because Anya was born in 2002, and so that was at the pretty much at the height of the site's popularity, I think. So we made her an official staff member as
has she advanced past intern? Yeah.
So, and yeah, like you guys mentioned last week, you said she must be in her 20s. She's 18. She's 18.
Okay.
She just left for college. I think she took umbrage at we talked about it as if she were in her 20s. I'm like, calm down. It's all right. But yeah, it's just, it's passing the baton, so she's off making mashups and podcasts on a MacBook Air.
Nice. Great.
She's got an As the Apple Turns sticker on her laptop. So
love it.
Because Lord knows we've got enough of those stickers kicking around.
You're still sitting on them, and a treasure trove of T-shirts and.
Oh yeah, I never have to buy another T-shirt again. Every time they wear out.
There you go.
Okay.
There it is.
Are those still available for sale? That's the question.
Yeah, I mean, there's no storefront for it, but yeah, I mean, if people go to the site, if they actually want one, drop me an email and we can figure something out. I recently sent one out to the guy who ran the forums for As the Apple Turns back in the day, because I didn't want to run forums because I didn't want to deal with the moderation, the liability. I certainly didn't have the time to sit on the forums and make sure that everything that was posted was legal and okay. So one of the fans said, I'll do them completely on my own server. You just link to them. I'll take care of everything. I said, that sounds great to me. Fantastic. We'll put up a disclaimer saying that, it's got nothing to do with me or the site. It's purely a fan run thing. And he did that for years, for free. He was great. And he found me recently.
Oh.
And on Twitter, actually. Yeah, he found me on Twitter. And so that was a fun reunion. And, I actually was able to, send him a new, he's like, yeah, I had a T-shirt, but, it wore out long ago. I'm like, I got you covered. I got it. So I sent him a T-shirt and a bunch of stickers. And so, they do exist. They're still floating around. He in particular, I felt like I really needed to give him something because you mentioned the rumors about me being dead and so forth. There was a police report, I believe, at some point.
Oh no!
But I do know that this particular guy, when he tried to set somebody straight on the forums and tell him, no, he's not dead. There's no massive conspiracy and cover up. The guy said, well, clearly you're in on the conspiracy, and actually called this guy's boss in his day job in real life.
Wow.
To warn his boss that he was employing somebody who was covering up a murder. I mean, this is a real thing that happened. And, it's like the least I can do for this guy is send him an extra. It's nuts.
Great. Well, if you want to get a T-shirt, you got to go through the website, get a hold of Jack somehow. I'm sure there's some way there somewhere.
There's a contact link. There's a contact link.
Good.
Bar up there. Yeah.
That's how I emailed him. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Appleturns.com is the website. Anything else you want to plug? I know you're on Twitter.
I am on Twitter. The links are on there as well. If you go to that about page, it's got the whole backstory, but also in all those years that I wasn't writing As the Apple Turns, for a lot of them, I was writing very different stuff, which was like literary poetry.
I thought I'd run across something where you had been doing some poetry. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'd been doing that since long before As the Apple Turns, but it comes and goes, so it was big in college and came back to it when I was having trouble with As the Apple Turns. Most people aren't going to want to read that if they're fans of As the Apple Turns, but they might be interested. There was talking about things that just spiral out of control. I run a lot, and during a pandemic, and also because I have a skin condition where it's not good for me to be out in the sun, I run a lot at night. But during a pandemic, also, it's no fun running in a mask. So a lot of the time I'm just running on a treadmill. So I'm running on a treadmill a lot, and I get real bored. So I just started watching horror movies every night while running on a treadmill. And I made the dad joke to somebody who's like, oh man, I'm on a treadmill every night watching horror movies. I should start a blog called Running Scared. And then a bunch of people just said, do it. So I did it. And so now I write sort of like reviews of horror movies that I'm watching while running on a treadmill.
Oh, that's fun.
So there's a link to that on the About page as well. And that is much more in the style of As the Apple Turns, minus the apple.
Got it. Well,
so,
cool.
And also there's links to Anya's stuff there too. So if you're
great. Okay.
K-pop or mashups, the links are all on there.
Nice. All right. Well, thanks, Jack. I'm so glad you were able to join us here
Yeah,
and
thanks for
help
having
us relive those beleaguered times.
They
But
were at that.
fortunately, it turned around for all of us, and we still got our
Yeah,
Macs.
well, I mean, I just checked out, the 20 years ago today kind of thing, and like, oh right, that 60% stock drop. I remember that 20 years ago.
Right. The novelty of having wireless internet in airports too was
Yes.
a fun one to read about.
Yeah, and it's good to know that you had to pay for it then, just like you have to pay for it now.
Yeah.
The free airport Wi-Fi is generally always a scam. So.
All right.
All right. Thank you so much. This has been so much fun.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Okay. Well, yeah, that we stopped. At least I stopped my recording of the audio portion. We're still live out there. We'll look on the chat room and see what people are saying. Just a lot of thanks.
Yeah, a lot of people
for the site. Yeah, I can remember. Of course I had my daily places that I would go, my bookmarks, and it was you and some of the news sites, Mac Rumors and Fake Steve.
Fake Steve Jobs. Yeah, there was a while in there where I was accused of being fake Steve.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, I love fake Steve Jobs, but the writing style is completely different.
Yeah.
If I were able to write that differently, that would have been, I would have loved that. I don't have that kind of talent. Everything I write is going to sound like me. I can't not sound like me. But yeah, for a while, even the Wikipedia entry for fake Steve Jobs said, there was a line that said, like, several people think that this was actually Jack Miller of As the Apple Turns. And I enjoyed that for a while. That has since gone. That line is, since they found out who it really was.
Yeah.
But that was the only place I appeared on Wikipedia for ages, I think.
I would love to see Fake Steve from Beyond the Grave commenting on the events of today. And
can you imagine?
Yeah, I know.
Can you imagine real Steve from Beyond the Grave commenting? I mean, that's what I would really like to see. Just like, you guys pay dividends? What? There were so many things, that changed once he left. So.
All righty. Well, we won't take up any more of your Sunday morning. I'm sure you got other things to tend to, and we'll sign off.
So,
all right.
Okay.
All right. Take care.
Thanks again.
Right.
Thanks
See
again.
ya. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, man, that was awesome. I am so stoked right now.
All right. I guess we did everything, right? We did the news.
We just need to do an outro.
And
remember that's what we're doing.
Yes. Yeah. We'll properly sign off and all that. Okay, let's go in.
Oh, wait. Oh my gosh. Oh. Derek's comment about what would Steve be commenting now. The hate this casket design.
Oh, yeah. He was probably cremated, so he's probably in a a G4 case or something
appropriate.
Yeah. All right, let's go.
All right, let's do it.
In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Well, wasn't that something? Jack Miller from As the Apple Turns. Go over to appleturns.com and see what was going on 20 years ago in that world. So it's so great that he took the time to put all that back up. It's a shame about that 7500. All right, let's see. Next week,
we'll go back to talking about dashboard / desk accessories / whatever else with
widgets and widgets. Whatever. Right, that whole chronology of those small applications that began with DAs way back when in System 6. Let's see. Anything else we need to talk about?
Everything think that's it.
Okay. All right. Well, until next week, remember, it's not old.
It's retro.
All right. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Oh, some of the comments.
All right. Well, let's see. Get me. I probably don't
I
need
will
your
get your
files.
files.
I don't know
Oh, that's true.
because I recorded
Yeah.
everything this time. So
Oh, just let me know if.
yeah, I'll let you know. I'll
Sure thing. Yeah.
um,
Because really, I think the audio coming through, like you sound great on this end. So I'm sure.
yeah.
Yeah. As long as there
Yeah,
haven't been any weird audio hiccups, like sometimes you get, sometimes compression or cutting out. Yeah.
True.
Sounded pretty good today.
True. All right. Well, thanks everybody.
Yeah. Thanks. Thanks,
And,
guys.
the chat. Mac 84 is even here today. That's great. And David Fretz. Lots of folks in there. So yeah, he should have a little. He should have a little storefront there. We get that as the Apple
Yes.
turns.
I'm definitely going to contact him about a sticker and buying a T-shirt from him. So, got to do it.
All right. I guess that's it. We'll see. Yeah, you had to wake up early.
Next week.
A big fat Newton episode on my podcast. If you need more listening material after this,
there you go.
Over on Mac Folklore Radio podcast.
Listen to Derek's dulcet tones.
Yeah, we didn't have any the compression artifacts that we had been having. I don't know. I had been getting some slowdowns here with my local internet. It seems like it's been getting better. Okay. Oh, John, what's the shirt?
Oh, this is a Dragon Con from 2012.
Okay, so, just a bunch of stylized characters.
Yeah,
different.
Yeah, kind of make it out, but yeah.
Awesome. All right, well, everybody, thanks for joining.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, see you next week.
Bye.